Hey everyone, Maury Curtis Dunbar here. Welcome back to Painted Studio. It's been a few days. I took a little time off for the holidays like everybody else. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I certainly did. It was very relaxing, very calm, just what I needed. It's been a little chaotic, with the move and everything, so a little peace and quiet was a good thing. Now, we have our studio manager in-house right now, so I thought I'd pop him up to say hello. But first, let me get my screens open here so that I can turn on commenting and see what's going on. There we go. Everything's here. Let's hope I see somebody's in, but I don't see who it is. So whoever is with us today, thanks for popping in. So, I hope everybody took advantage of our early Black Friday sale. That was a lot of fun. We got a lot of you, lots of good, fun bits of stuff sent out in the UPS and the mail and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sorry, I'm babbling a little bit. It's been chaotic, so doing paperwork all day. I don't know if you can see back in the back here. Over here's my laptop. We've been doing some photo loading. And that thing's got like 5 hours of processing to do right now. And I just look at it and go, oh God. So I've been working on all kinds of devices and not really doing any painting today. So my eyes are a little bleary trying to catch up with stuff. Now, our studio manager's here because I got him a new office today. And so he's going to come up and say a little hello. This is our studio manager, Max. He's such a good boy. He keeps things going and keeps them in line from his fuzzy little office down here on the floor. This is our Maxie. Yes, hello Maxie. Have you been a good boy today? Oh, you want to go back to your little warm cozy nest. He's being very snuggly today. He likes his new bed that I put here in this new studio because I didn't really have a comfy one for him in the old place, so he just get a bunch of scraps. Now he's got a big old fuzzy spot down here, and he is as happy as a clam. All right, so maybe he'll come up and say goodbye later on. All right, so what we're working on today is a wooden cutout wreath. Now, we carry these wreaths. They're on paintedstudio.com for you to get. They're made out of wood. And then we've worked on the other side. And we're going to put a reel together showing you the basics of this. And I know you're getting some glare off the light, so that makes it a little hard to see what it looks like right now. When I flip the camera down, you'll be able to see it a little better. We're going to continue that today. Sorry, I keep checking the screen over here because it lets me know if somebody's in, and because it's off to the side instead of in front of me like normal, I'm not able to just look and catch a glance at what's going on. So we're going to flip the camera down. I'm going to show you what we've been working on. I'll get you to the spot we are now, and then we're going to move on and do more fun things. So give me just a second. We're going to flip this down. All right. Yes, you can all see this. So what we've done is I created, whoops, let me reach over here. Now you can tell I've used this a lot already on this. I created a balsam branch stencil, and we use 2 different shades of Roberson's liquid metals. Well, let me start from the beginning. We painted the background champagne metallic set coat, and we then also used set coat matte metallic snow. Now you know this is my jar from the studio. This is not how the jars come. I had a gallon that was going to start drying out, so I poured it into a smaller jar so I could use it better. Then we took the stencils and applied first our Roberson's liquid metal in Silver Verde, which is a silver color that has just a little hint of green to it, which made a perfect branch color for this. And then we overlaid the same stencils using metallic silver. Now, metallic silver we don't currently have in stock. It's a very light, bright silver, but it is coming in on our next order. So I don't think we have it in stock. Geez, I'm gonna have to check my inventory, but I'm pretty sure I don't have this one in stock. I think we brought it into other things. But this is coming in. If we don't have it in stock right now, sorry, we had a lot of merchandise come in when we moved the stencil, and I don't remember all of it, but I don't think we have the metallic silver. If we do, it's on our website. If we don't, it will be coming in shortly. I'm putting in an order in the next week or so to get more of these colors, because you guys just love the Robersons. I can't tell you how pleased I am, but that means we go through it a lot, so I'm always refilling the orders. And I kind of keep a list on my board behind me. So as you can see now, we have created 2 different shades of the branches on our wreath. And the next thing we're going to use is our Christmas transfers. Now, you might have seen a brief picture on Instagram or something. This is what our Christmas label transfers look like. This is just a small little thing that we did here. I'm going to build up on that. We're going to do that today too. And then when you purchase them, they come in a pack like this, and it's three sheets, 6 by 12 inches, and there are tons of different images on here, and we're going to use those as wreath decorations. So we're going to place them around here. And do I have a pair of scissors next to me? Because that would be practical. Of course I don't, so give me just a second to reach over and grab a pair of scissors. Office Manager Max is keeping a tight view on what's going on so he doesn't miss a darn thing. Hey Addie and Gail and Maria, thank you for stopping in. So we're going to cut some of these apart. Each of these sheets have different images. So you can see right here what we've got, and then what's not on here is what we have on this. And we're going to use all of these to decorate our wreath. And then at the end, I'm going to hand paint in the bow. So let's start. Okay, let's start with this one. Now let's hope I didn't mess anything up, because these got layered on top of each other. There we go. So we just place things down here. Now it's a little textured of a surface, so we may get an interesting release from this. I can't guarantee exactly how this is going to come out, just because we've got a little texture versus a super smooth surface, but we should get a nice release. It just might take a little more work. So you can use this. Came with a little push, a little depressor tool, but I can't find it because I've moved this from about 4 different places. So I'm using a tongue depressor. You can use a brayer. You can use, I have agate burnishers from Gilding. You can use a burnisher. You can use whatever tool pushes this down to the surface. So I can see most of this pattern is releasing. It just might take a little bit of extra work to get it all laid down. So we're going to get as much of this done today as we can before my fingers break. And then we'll go on, and hopefully we'll have time for me to hand paint that bow in. We might not, because we're going to be doing some other things too. We're going to put more leaves, more branches back over all of this with glass bead gel and glitter mixtures. Very similar if you watched me do the stocking. What was it, last week, the week before? I love glass bead gel, and more than that, I love mixing stuff into it so you get a little extra glimmer and shimmer from it. So let's see. I can see most of this is transferred, and what doesn't show on camera is as this grabs, this gets a little frosty in here because it means it's pulled off of the mounting film. And so that helps me see how this is transferring. And most of it's transferring pretty well, but I can still see a few spots that need extra burnishing. Later this week, we're going to be doing some water gilding and some oil gilding and all that, because we are looking to bring into you more gilding products. And if I like what I've brought in, if it works the way I've been told it will work, we're going to be carrying it, and I think it should be a great thing. You know, I'm a gilder, so I love anything that's going to have gold leaf, and I believe in carrying top-of-the-line products, which, you know, you might be familiar with Whitson's Universal Lacquer, which is perfect for leaf. It was designed for leaf, with the gesso products that we brought in, and the Roberson's water-based size. So I'm going to look to bring in an oil-based size as well. Now let's start lifting. And again, you're going to watch me. I'm going to roll this back, because this takes some of the tension off of things and allows me to see if something didn't transfer. I can flip it back down. It's just a gentler release on these, and that's sort of, you definitely want a little easier release. You don't want to just rip this off like a Band-Aid, because it might not, you might just damage the pattern. I have done that. That's how I know. But look how nicely that came off on there. That's really, really pretty. All right, so let's say we take this big candy cane. Normally I would put it down there, but we've got a bow, so maybe we'll just take the big candy cane and put that up on the top. Let's cut that one out. And when you store these, store them on this white paper. It's a silicone backing that protects your transfers, because they're a little like temporary tattoos, so that if you do not keep them carefully protected, they will stick on top of each other, and then the transfer will start to transfer on top of this film instead of where you want it. So I'm always telling people, pay attention to that kind of stuff. So let's put, we want the whole thing up here. I gotta turn this way just so I can get a little centering. I think I want that right in the center at the top. Yeah, like that there. Not quite perfectly centered. That doesn't need to be. Now I'm going to turn it my way, and I'm going to move it a little bit so it's a little better centered. I can get a little OCD with this, which is surprising, because I'm generally not OCD. Hi Sharon, nice to see you here. Now, of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, because if I'm not making it clear, that's on me, and there is nothing wrong with asking a question, because if I didn't make it clear for you, I probably didn't make it clear for anybody else either. But these are wonderful transfers. This is called, this set of transfers is called Christmas tags. So they can be used on all kinds of things. As you see, we actually created a Christmas tag with tags. And we're going to be doing some stuff with that in a little bit too. Once I get all these transfers on, we're going to do some bead gel and glitter mixtures. And we'll put that on here. We'll put that on here. Get some great patterns going here. But right now, I'm concentrating on the transfers so I don't screw them up. So these are coming off really well. I was afraid the little bit of texture might make it hard, but clearly this one released beautifully. And so I'm far less concerned than I had been at first. So I'm getting, obviously if it's super textury and coarse, you're going to face some challenges with this. I think this is going to be really fun. Now, I don't think we're going to get to painting the bow today because I'm going to be putting the glass bead gel on, and it will need to dry before I can paint the bow. Because, you know, I was smart and thought I could do it all at once, but again, I always think I can do everything all at once. Okay, let's get these. Now, these little dots are all supposed to be transferred too, so don't miss any of your pattern. Okay. So oftentimes while I'm working, I used to have books on, but I actually found books far more distracting because I get involved in listening to them. So a lot of times I have, you know, a TV series on Netflix or something like that playing on one of my devices, and I've been watching, believe it or not, I've been watching the new one called Wednesday, listening to it. And I am half in love with it and half irritated with it because it's a little, like, teen angsty, which can get exhausting. But it's also really cool, and they're great visuals on there, created by Tim Burton, I think. And so I just go back and forth with whether or not I love it or I hate it. But the visuals on it are fantastic. Of course, I don't have time to sit and actually watch it. I just listen to it, and that's where I get all the teen angst stuff. I'm like, oh, one or the other, folks, one or the other. So I think this is going to be just super cute with these labels on here. Does anybody else, while they're working, put on like favorite movies or something like that on a, you know, a device or something? Like I said, driving, I do a lot of books, but here in the studio, sometimes it's innocuous kind of movies in the background that I need just as noise, because sometimes music doesn't actually work as well for me. Some days it does, some days it doesn't. Okay, let's get... And again, you see I'm rubbing right here along this edge, and what that's doing is cutting into the transfer so it fits the shape of my surface a little better. So I don't have to wrap so much underneath. You can see right here, I'm going to have to kind of wrap that a little bit. And I really don't want to do that too much because I don't want to get in here with a lot of pattern. All right, let's roll back. So if I can kind of cut the edge off a little bit. Let's see. I can just take that. I marked it, but it didn't really cut it. There we go. Just sort of scraped off that edge right there so it doesn't go over too much. But now you can see where we're going with this. It's going to look like a vintage mailing. And we're going to take all of these. These will all get on here, so be patient with me. Oops, let's get this right side up so that, let's see which, I'm going to cut these all out so I can actually see which ones I want on here, how I want them, because I don't want them to be too matchy-matchy. I think we're good here with this. We're going to take all these letterings and we're going to tuck them in somewhere. I think we'll tuck the Christmas time to you. Merry Christmas time to you. Happy days and blessings true. Golden joys and fortunes bright. Hearts that ever light. That's going to fit right down in here really perfectly. And when we put the glass bead gel, if you saw the postal birds, the glass bead gel, like the postal birds stocking, that glass bead gel sort of softens everything and blends it together. It makes really, really wonderful shimmery decoration on here that sort of ties it all in. Now, the other thing we may do, depending on what it looks like when the glass bead gel's dry, I picked up some flocking at Michael's, and we may flock the edges inside and out to make it look like snow. And I think that's a great way to kind of finish up such a wintry looking wreath. But we'll get there. I am trying to do only one project at a time these days. I usually have 16 things going, and with the onset of the holiday season, I am trying to actually not do that. I'm trying to do one project and finish it instead of having a stack sitting around unfinished. There. All right, let's start rolling back. Almost missed that little bit right there, which is part of a very pretty part of the scroll. I don't want to lose that. That's where this texture can be rough on these little fine line things. Okay, let's take our scissors, sort of scrape along there, get that little extra bit off. And what we will do, once these are all on, we will take some Set Coat Clear and seal this up. The reason for that is once we put the stencil back down and then we put glass bead gel through it, I don't want to scrape my patterns off. I want to keep them on there looking nice. And you can scrape things off and do damage, especially if we're going to have any spray adhesive, which we will, on, oops, that's not what I wanted to do, on the stencil. And so this, you don't want this stencil to rip up the transfer. You want to seal the whole thing down. So I may be getting up and down a little bit to do this because, quite frankly, I wasn't that organized today. So it looks like I'm spacing these out pretty evenly, which means I'm going to have to take a little something here and there and kind of break it up just a little bit, because I don't want it somehow, you know, I try to kind of go a little imperfect, and then people do this, you get automatically perfect, and that's not very helpful. Hi Beverly, thanks for coming in. So we're going to do this. Now, I haven't done transfers on a piece of furniture in a while, but I have a piece set aside to do some on. But I'm getting a little bit in the holiday mood, and we have all these wonderful cutouts, so I thought I'd share fun ways to use our new transfers and our wooden cutouts this week. I seem to be doing a lot of wooden surfaces lately that aren't furniture, but of course this is easier actually to video for you all than a piece of furniture. A piece of furniture requires me to pull out the crazy gooseneck wobbly camera tripod, and you know, it's just not as easy as sitting here and showing this stuff to you on a flat surface. So there is a like, I just want to sit down and do this the easy way moment sometimes too. Look how cute these are on here. These are really, really nice. And I forgot to do my little guy here down in the center. I have two more to cut out here. The one thing that's not going on here, I don't think, is Winter Market. That doesn't really fit. I think we're going to tuck in all the other little cutout shapes and stuff that I have around here just to use them all. I want to be generous with my transfers and get a really nice result from this. All right, come on. Of course, this doesn't want to come up because I'm doing it. Here's for you all to see. Okay, that came out perfectly nicely. And let's get these two. I don't want poinsettia on top of poinsettia. That would look terrible. Let's see if I want to angle that way. Yeah, let's angle it that way. A little bit of imperfection there. Turn this around a little bit. All right, let's grab this little thing. It says Welcome Santa, so we'll put that up there. I'm going to tag some of these extra little bows down somewhere. I have one more little bow floating around. Here it is. That one there, and then we'll put that one here. Yeah, just balancing it out. And then the only one I'm not putting on here is what says Winter Market, because that makes no sense on a wreath. I mean, I could stick it there. Oh, why not? Let's stick it there. Get them all in there. Use every last bit of it. No waste. Where did I put my little burnishing stick? I don't want to waste any of them. We got little holly berries, poinsettias, candy canes, Santa, little what look like clippings, some look like mailing tags. I think this is just very cute. Okay. Again, I'm going to take my scissor. Let me grab the edge here. There's that piece of stuff. And we'll get it over here. Now these are one of the smaller transfer sets, unlike some of our other ones. This comes in a smaller, this is clearly more for crafting. It comes in a smaller packet. You can use them on small projects. Even the big pieces you can use on small projects. But clearly some of these are designed to be furniture transfers versus craft transfers. And I would say the Christmas tags ones are craft transfers. You know, more for pieces like this that you're doing as a decorative item, not so much a nightstand or a dresser. Although, you know, you could make a very cute holiday table with these and put these all, see, as I'm putting them around here, just turn them so that they create a band around the top of a small table. What a cute Christmas table that could be. Okay, come on, come off of here. I had you up, now you don't want to lift, of course not. Piece of plastic doesn't want to lift off. Might as well put Winter Market on there. No reason not to. It balanced this out nicely, so I was good with that. Now you might notice that I'm not using all of my crazy bright colored palettes like I often do for things like this. You know, I thought I'd break out of my candy colored mold and go and do a few more subtle things this year. Play a little more neutral. Because look how pretty this is. I have a love for sort of this country farmhouse kind of stuff, but in limited doses, and I don't make it often. And I thought this is the time with these wonderful transfers to really kind of get into that. Okay. This should be the last one. Then I'm going to go grab my Set Coat Clear. I'm going to be popping up and down a lot today because I didn't bring a lot of stuff over here to the table because I've already had so much stuff over here. So just give me a minute. Each time I pop up, just give me a second to grab everything I need. And that gives a little drying time anyway for the things that we're doing, and that will help in the long run. Okay, so that's not pushed down right there. So here is our basic wreath design. I think this came out super cute. Now, give me 2 seconds. Let me go grab. I'm going to push all this extra paper stuff out of the way. Toss it into my wastebasket next to me. And then I'm going to grab the things that we need for the next step. Just give me 1 second. Okie dokie. Trying to give myself a little room to work, and I end up, you know, jamming things up. What can I tell you? I don't know if any of you do this, but as I work, oftentimes I create a smaller circle of stuff around me, and I end up closing myself into where I'm working. All right, so I have some Set Coat Clear in here. This was just the last of a jar I had. So to keep it from going funky, I put it in a small container. I do that. I take my containers and I make them smaller and smaller so that I don't have things go bad. Now this is the same as the metallic set coats. It's the same as the regular set coats. The reason we have Set Coat Clear is in the days that I was still doing walls and stuff, and it's still made now, when we did a glaze or a finish over an existing wall paint that was not of good quality, and it would make the job harder, but we didn't want to change the base color because it was perfect for the job, we apply a coat of Set Coat Clear over it. And what this does is give a perfect finish for your next layer of decorative finishing. I can go, make sure I get her all the way in here. What this will do for this is it's going to seal up these transfers so that as I use glass bead gel, it doesn't damage it. All right, I'm going to move this to the side. I'm going to set that down there. It'll be dry enough for us to do the next step in about 10 minutes, which gives me plenty of time to do the glass bead gel mixing and to top coat our little tag here, because we'll be doing something with that. And I'm going to do both sides and set it on its end. Over here, so I'm just holding this up because I didn't really paint the sides of this, and I'm just going to prop that up against something where I know almost nothing will be touching. Perfect. So let me put that in there. Close up my Set Coat Clear. And again, if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to ask. That's what I'm here for. All right, so we are going to now take a little container, and we're going to use Artsyville glass bead gel. Now, I love glass bead gel. I've done whole wall finishes with this, furniture, you name it. And when you store it, take some plastic wrap or press and seal and push it all the way down to the top of the product. That will help it stay nice and moist longer. If you don't do that, you might not get great, you might have it dry out too fast. All right. Especially as we add stuff to it, you're adding air into it by stirring it up. You're adding a dry surface in there that will take moisture out. So we're going to add some of our silver glass beads. These are something we carry at Painted. And we're going to be pretty generous with that. A little more so than I have been in some other projects. And then we're going to add some of our silver glitter. Again, I haven't had this in a bigger jar. I just poured it out. We should have silver glitter on paintedstudio.com as well. If I can, there's something that's in here that wants to mess with my stuff. Okay, just have these little pieces of plastic in here. This must have been something in this container that had thin plastic. Who knows? Okay, so I'm going to mix that carefully. And let's get, I'm going to use this to kind of tack that up because I spilled a little stuff out of there. Let's get that all mixed up. And if you think this is too dry, you can add a little tiny bit of water to it. This at this stage is just right. I really like where it's at. Although I'm going to put some more glass bead, silver beads in here. And I'm going to add some, yeah, I could probably add some more. I want this to be very silvery. And I'm going to add some more glitter to it. Because I really want this, unlike the stocking with the birds on it, where I wanted it to be more subtle, I don't want this quite so subtle. I want this a little more blingy. So the extra beads and everything in here will really make that perfect. All right, let me go grab my tool. Okay, and my very fancy tool that I'm using today is a hotel room card. This one goes back almost 7 years. I keep all this stuff. Let me put the tape back over that so it stays closed, because I've gotten, if you're like me, I get stuff up around the rim and then my lids don't close, which is another reason to have the plastic wrap down in there. So I keep a piece of tape on the lids just so things don't go flying. Okay, so this is not optimally dry, but it's dry enough for today. A little damper in some spots than I like, but it'll work. Okay, so we're going to take the stencil again. Now you can see I cut this stencil. I think I need better, thicker Mylar to do this, but if you like this stencil, we were more than happy to cut it for you. Just send me a message. And we put a little bit of spray adhesive on the back, just a little bit of standard 3M spray adhesive. What you need to do though, here, some of these things get stuck together because they've been used a lot. This will be probably the last thing I use this stencil for, because it's going to be hard on it, this very thin Mylar. But I've been using this all over everything. You use a little standard 3M spray adhesive and give it a little quick spritz like this. And then let it dry. And let it dry 10 minutes or longer, because usually you can get away with 5, but I know if I say 5, you're going to push it to 2, and then it's not going to work well for you. So I say give it at least a good 10 minutes to let it set up. Now we've had this going since before the live started, because the adhesive, if you don't let it set up, you use it too soon, it will leave glue deposits on your surface. And that's why people struggle with spray adhesive for their stencils. Not because the spray adhesive isn't any good, it's because you put it on too fast. You want it to be basically dry, so it's feeling a little rubber cement-like. And then you're going to take your stencil, tap it down gently. You're going to take your bead gel mix and the room key, and I'll explain why you want to use something like a room key or a soft tool of some sort to apply this. If you use something stiff, all these little glass beads in here, they shoot everywhere. They go all over the place. With this, it's flexible, and you can butter this stuff on in a way that spreads the beads without scraping the surface and without having the beads roll everywhere, so you don't get a nice pattern. Now you can see my stencil's been used a lot, so I may have some bleed unders and stuff, so I just lift that back up. I have to be careful on how I use this, because I don't want to, I'm trying to get through this whole project without needing to recut this stencil. I cut it on my Cricut, and the Mylar that I bought I think is thinner than I'm happy with. I would have gone for double thickness. But look how nice that is. I think you can see right in here is these lovely little crystalline branches, and they're going to dry sort of clear, and they'll dry very, very pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my first pass with this carefully. And this is not easy. Now I've got a stencil that's kind of loaded with product right here. And actually what I'm going to do is be smart. I'm going to set this aside for a second. I'm going to clean my stencil off. I keep trying to do things the easy way, and the easy way is actually the hard way. So I'm going to scrape all of this off carefully so as I don't ruin my stencil. Put this back into the container so I can use it some more. Okay, pull that up. Grab all of this off of here, put it in the container, and then I'm ready to proceed. But truly, this stencil has become kind of fragile from all the use, and so I will have to be very careful applying it to my surface, just to get as many more uses out of it as I can. Because I do want to do it more than just what I'm going to get in one pass. So I'm going to have to be really careful. Okay. And I love doing this. I think a little pattern over transfers, a little texture over transfers, just makes them a little more expensive looking, a little less like stickers and more like a created design. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's an aesthetic to me that I may not be describing very well. So I'm aware of that. But it definitely makes it a little more polished looking. Now, if I get glass bead gel under here and really make it mess with it, I go in with little Q-tips or a little clay carving tool, and I can carve this out. Because I'm using the transparent base, I haven't added colorant to this. It makes it very easy for me to do that. And as I beat the tar out of this stencil, that might be a very good thing to be able to do. Let's lift this carefully. Okay, yep, that's coming out really nicely. Now, I want to get a little bit of something right in here, but I have got to clean the stencil off again. Again, I am now getting to the point where I have just beaten up this stencil, so really it's a good thing I kept it in my file, because if I wanted to use this again... Oh, sorry, things are coming in on my phone even though I turned the noise off on it. If I want to use create this pattern again, I'm going to have to cut it again, because this stencil will not hold up again. Even if I washed it, you can see it's a very delicate pattern. Let's see if I can get anything else off of anything else here. set that to the side. Clean this up. Put it back in the container. Bring my wreath up again. So I have this little spot here, and I'm going to see if I can tuck a branch in here without disturbing anything else, which I actually can. So that's good. I can do that right there. And then I might let this set up a little more and then later come back in. But like right here, I've made kind of a mess of things, so I might need to come in with a Q-tip and clean things up. I may not mess with it at all, because once this dries, you may not see that. See, look, see how I've just beaten that stencil to Dickens here. Come on, slide it across. Okay, there's a little bit here. Smash another pattern if I do that, so we're going to leave that be. But this really is a wonderful way to detail something. And I just got a little smush in there. Come in with the clean end and just clean that up a little bit, tidy up that line there. But this is going to look really, really pretty. I will come back in, I will add a little more, but we're going to let that dry for a little while first. And let's clean off this, since I know I have to come back in and beat on this stencil a little more. I want to get as much of this off of here as possible. Oops, throwing things. I hope you all are getting in the holiday spirit and making pretty things. And if you're not in any holiday spirit, I hope you're making pretty things to put you in whatever kind of mood you'd like to be in. I know some years it's a little more challenging than others. All right, so I'm going to set that down here as well. Clean this up. And then we're going to take this guy, and I have another stencil just happens to be sitting here. This is our floral swirl. So I'm going to put that on here. I'm just feeling which side, because this one was used in the birds. And so I'm just feeling which side has the adhesive still left on it, so I can use that. And I'll do this to the other side of this as well. I just need to let it set up a little bit so that I don't ruin it by doing both sides at once. So this is a little heavier grade stencil material. You can find this pattern on our website. This holds up to what I'm doing a little better. These are laser cut, I think, so they cut them in a little thicker Mylar, but when I'm cutting a gentler, you know, on my Cricut cutter, it requires something a little thinner, although I think I definitely could have gone better with the quality of the Mylar that I bought for it. I think I could have bought a little thicker. So I will research that and probably go back into that, cut it a little thicker. I got this whole thing filled in, and you don't want to be any thicker than the thickness of 1 or 2 glass beads, because then it becomes cloudy and doesn't dry as nicely. So don't build this up thick like cake frosting. Just butter it on, smooth it out, fill in the openings, and pop your stencil up. Okay, just like that. And then if you're a little bit over the edges, again, you just come in with your tool, whatever it is you're using, scrape off the edges. And you have this lovely, lovely, I knew there was a big blob there, lovely glass bead gel. Now it looks frosty white now, but it will dry super clear. And then you'll see the glass beads, you'll see the glitter. It'll look really lovely. So we're gonna clean this off. And literally this is how we do it on walls and that sort of thing too. Of course, if you're doing walls with glass bead gel, big project, having more than one stencil usually helps because these get pretty filled up. So, because stuff builds up around the edges, and you want to make sure you take care of your tools the same way you take care of your customers if you're doing this on big projects. I'm showing it to you on small things because we sell it in small amounts just as much as we sell it in large amounts. So definitely check out the products. All right, let's see. Now I will cover this up because I'm going to use it in a few minutes to finish up the wreath, to finish the other side of our ornament. Now I'm talking with you guys not seeing me. Let's see if you got, okay. So we'll use the rest of that glass bead gel. We're gonna finish up the other side of our little ornament here. Finish up this, do the same on this side that we have on this side, but it has to be drier because, yeah, it would be bad if I sat it down like this right now. It would smush it. So we're gonna let that dry for a little while. If I give it about a half an hour, it'll be firm enough for me to gently do it on the other side. We're gonna finish up putting some more little silver branches on our wreath. And then I'm going to take some flocking material that I got at Michael's. You can find it at Michael's. It's like 99 cents a bag. And we're just going to kind of flock around the edges. But that before I do that, I will be painting in the ribbon. I do video all this even when I'm not doing live. So this will be completed and it'll be on a reel on Facebook. So you'll be able to see the whole project in short time. And I'm going to say, here's my office manager wants to come say goodbye to everybody. He says goodbye. He needs to take a nap. Our little office manager. Maxie's looking a little tired today because I make him do such hard work. All right, everybody. Thanks for popping by. I appreciate you coming in. Have a great day.